What's up, everybody? It's James. Is this our favorite time of the year? We're big
I
on the
wouldn't.
Champions League, aren't we? Let's be
Oh,
honest.
oh,
We're huge
I
on the
think when it
Champions
hits
League.
like February time and it's knockout stage, it gets a bit it gets very feisty them times. But group stages is quite chilled.
Right.
It's more. But you're looking at more domestic stuff right now. Group stages, it's chilled. You kind of expect it's gonna happen.
But we're a big. I think we're a big European football channel. If we're being honest, we're not exclusively, Premier League. I know a lot of big storylines on the Premier League, but I think European football is kind of our bread and butter. So nothing says European football quite like the Champions League. So what James and I are going to do here, look, guys, we're not going to try and predict the result of Sheriff versus Shakhtar Donetsk in game week 2 of the group stages, but we are coming at you today with who we think will be the two teams from each group that progress out of the group stages and into the knockouts. Now, James and I haven't spoken about this. This is something we're trying to get into a better habit of. And I think from the kind of early days of us starting recording, James, we kind of knew what each other were going to say. But I think we've done a really good job recently of just not really talking to each other about it too much and just letting the
Oh, we
conversation
don't talk
flow.
to each other, but like we know each other very well,
Right.
like very well. So it's like when I say something, Jack's already.
I know where
What I
he's
said,
going.
Jack's already.
Yeah.
Probably has the same answer as me at the same time. So it's quite weird.
Right, but we're hoping for some upsets along the line here. I know I certainly don't have kind of all the favourites going through in strictly all of the groups, but James, let's get it started. We've had the people waiting long enough. Group A, Club Bruges, Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain with Lionel Messi, and RB Leipzig. Now, this is one of the trickier groups. I know some of you, sat there at home might be thinking, well, no, City and PSG, but RB Leipzig over a good football team. I doubt James is going to pick Bruges, but James, I mean, are we going with the two expected answers here, or have you got a surprise for us?
I want to do what I do best and shake up the room a bit, but I just find it so hard because maybe RB Leipzig of old, maybe, but I feel like they just like we mentioned this before. They've taken a lot of losses. They've had a lot of losses, and I really want to say them over Man City, but I just can't see it happening. They haven't had the greatest start to the to the Bundesliga season. I think they've let me just make sure here exactly what they've had. But what in quick
Well,
one in 4 games they've lost 3 of them, Jack. So
right.
it hasn't been scintillating yet. So again, Man City, PSG finished on top. Man City finished in second.
Yeah, I agree with you. Look, I'd love to, like James, I'd love to just kind of tear up the script here a little bit and have some hate in the comments, and then maybe if I'm right, I look like a genius. But RB Leipzig are one of these teams that just get butchered every single off season. I mean, in especially this off season, we've seen the best young coach in the world. I think it's probably fair to say in Julian Nagelsmann pursue greener pastures at Bayern Munich, and both starting centre backs, big up and comers in Ibrahima Konate and Dayo Upamecano, also making kind of bigger strides in their career. So yeah. Shock horror, the two kind of biggest teams, and you'd argue potentially the two favourites going into the competition in the same group. It's going to be some fascinating matchups.
Yeah.
Messi against Pep too. We love that. But yeah,
like 2 semi-finalists from last season. Like it's hard to bet against them.
right, exactly. But James, I agree with you. That's kind of a cut and dry one there. However, Group B, now we have some really, really interesting matchups. In my opinion, there's not a single bad team in this group. So we've got Group B, AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, and Porto. Now, what I will say, and this I think is very important because this has gone under the radar as a talking point, when we talk about the Europe's top 5 leagues now, the 5th biggest league has actually coming in to replace the French league is the Portuguese league. Now, one of the reasons why that has been bumped up in terms of the coefficient is the performances for clubs like Porto, Benfica, etc., Sporting Lisbon. So, James, without really a weak team in this group, who are the two you've got going through? Because I don't know if we're going to totally agree here.
Oh, Jack, this is a tough one, and I see this group generally going to the wire here.
I agree.
There is no easy games. The fact that like going to Porto, can a team actually get all 3 points? I think our teams will struggle to go to to
Right.
Porto and get all 3 points there. We know what Liverpool represent. AC Milan, we know the history behind it, and in recent years, Atletico Madrid. I look at AC Milan here, and I do think that this might be crazy, but I feel like they're going to finish bottom of the group here. I feel like because they haven't been in it in so many years, and they're kind of the new boys in here. They haven't had that Champions League feel, and then you look at a team like Inter Milan who have done well in the league the past few years, but struggled in the Champions League. I'm gonna go for AC Milan finish bottom of the group, but it's gonna be that they're gonna get their points. Porto, Liverpool finishing second, Atletico Madrid as the number one team.
I agree with you, kind of across the board. I do think that Milan, unfortunately, will be bottom. I do think that their focus is going to be on top four this year and just trying to cement that and have that as a building block going forward. We know that there are some old heads there who are going to kind of try and deliver and pull things out. I don't think that we can underestimate the likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic in a big moment, in a big game. We know what Olivier Giroud is capable of, and there are some seriously talented boys knocking around in that Milan team, but I think you look at what Atletico Madrid are at the moment. Obviously, I know it sounds silly, but even somebody like Griezmann coming back, I think we are going to see a better form of Antoine Griezmann, much like we saw before he moved to Barcelona in the first place. And Liverpool at Anfield is basically you're handing them it straight away. But I'd like what you've said there, James. I think we're picking the two favourites to go through in the group here. But I do like what you're saying there. I don't think this is cut and dry. If you tell me one of Porto and Milan go through, I won't be surprised. Both of them may be a bit of a stretch, but one of them sneaking in second, I'm not going to rule it out. And I think we are going to be waiting to game week 6 for this one to fully be completed.
Oh yeah, like I feel like points are going to be traded here, but I just feel like the quality of Liverpool and Atletico Madrid in recent history of them, like just always being there, would just tip them over the edge.
Moving on to Group C now, a little lower quality. No disrespect to any of these teams, but I don't think we have any elite football teams in this group here. So Ajax Amsterdam, obviously number 1, Besiktas number 2, Borussia Dortmund number 3, Sporting Lisbon number 4. James, who are your two going through here?
I feel like Dortmund are like just the outstanding team there. We know what they represent in the past few years, especially Erling Haller. He seems to love it in the Champions League. I see Dortmund finishing top of the group, and then the second place team. It's a weird one because Ajax is romantically. I want to say Ajax, but I just have that little slip that they're just gonna choke. Because in recent years, I remember I think the year that they were in a group with Chelsea, and they dropped out. I think last season too, they also kind of dropped out too. So I'm gonna say let's go Dortmund, Sporting Lisbon.
Oh, okay. I'm really excited because this is going to be the first one we disagree on. Yes, Dortmund through top, no doubt about it. Erling Haaland, goal a game. Guy's a freak show. He's going to make the most of his last year at Dortmund before he makes a move to one of the more elite teams. I'm going with Besiktas, James. I don't think we can underestimate the torrid away days that the Turkish, fan base hold. Now, I don't condone on a lot of the behaviour, but sitting in England in the safety of my own living room, watching it on TV, I'm absolutely here for it. I love it. Fireworks at 4 a.m. The opponent's hotel and all that stuff. I'm totally here for it. Sporting lost a lot in the off-season, and I agree with you, James. There's a certain level of complacency at Ajax, and very rarely are the stars going to kind of align where all those talented players, they keep hold of just long enough before they lose a bunch again. So I think it's going to be the same kind of response there. But yeah, I just think Besiktas will have enough. It's going to be a nightmare going to play in Turkey. And, I can see them getting a result in Lisbon. I can see them getting a result in Amsterdam. Even at Dortmund, maybe a score draw, 0-0. I'm just not going to rule it out. So I think Besiktas will be a pain in the neck and they'll probably go through in second. Right, Group D. This
to be fair, Jack, you also make a great point. The fact of going to Turkey is gonna be a big task for everyone there. That I'm gonna, for the video reasons, I'm gonna stick with Sporting Lisbon, but you can move on.
So Group D, this one might be our easiest one. I'm not gonna deny it, but maybe we have a twist to the tale here. Group D, Internazionale, Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk, and all I've got written down on my Google Leagues thing here is Sheriff. So I don't know the full name of that football club. I've never heard of that football club. I give them a lot of credit for making the Champions League, but I'm not backing them. Who have you got going through, James?
We might need to do our research on Sheriff.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this is literally the same group as last year, but the only difference is Sheriff replaced Borussia Mönchengladbach. It's an interesting one. Real Madrid are, of course, the outstanding team in this, and like we expect them to go through. Interestingly enough, this group last year went to the final day, and it took miracles from kind of Real Madrid to kind of pull it off, and obviously Inter Milan dropping out of it. Shakhtar Donetsk did beat Real Madrid in back-to-back games, home and away the last season, and maybe that might play a factor. But Real Madrid finishing first. Inter Milan has had this weird thing in the Champions League where they just haven't quite broken through yet, and this year is going to be a bit difficult for them. But you know what? Let me go for Shakhtar Donetsk. Shakhtar Donetsk finishing second. Inter to me is like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to make of them. And I feel like I have a better understanding of what Shakhtar Donetsk is going to give me in the Champions League, unlike Inter Milan. So I'm just going to go Shakhtar.
Well, James, I think the only difference from last year of Inter have gone unbelievably worser. That's not fantastic English, but they've just fallen off a cliff here, basically. I'm going to agree with you. I was hoping we'd have another disagreement here. I'd be able to maybe get a point on you here, but it looks like we're going to agree. Yeah, Real Madrid are going to go through. Again, I don't think it's necessarily going to be pretty, an away draw to Sheriff or an away draw to Shakhtar, whatever, but I just think that there'll be enough wins for Real Madrid to go through as number one. And yeah, Shakhtar and Inter, if you're making me pick right now, for the reasons you just said, I know what I'm getting with this Shakhtar Donetsk team. I know what it is. Every single year when they come to play in the Champions League, they know it's their chance to create some sort of history. I don't think they're ever going to win it, but they're always that team who are trying to get as far as they can, and they're just so passionate and motivated. And Inter, again, they've fallen off so badly compared to what they were last year. I just don't think this is going to be the same team.
I totally agree.
Moving on to Group E. So some people might think this is easy, but again, we've got some narratives running across a couple of these teams where you just think to yourself, I'm not so sure. But Group E, FC Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Benfica, and Dynamo Kiev. James, who are the two teams you've got? And are two, well, I was going to say, are they the two beginning with B, but you've got three Bs in there.
Two there do have B there. Bayern, the outstanding team in this, so they go through group winners. Then I gotta ask myself, Barcelona or Benfica? And let me not disrespect Barcelona here, because at the end of the day is that let me look at everyone else's team, and I look at Barcelona's team compared to Benfica, and like Dynamo Kiev, it's far superior. It might not be the Messis and even the Antoine Griezmanns over like years gone by, but it's still a very good Barcelona team with your Ansu Fatis, your Frankie de Jong, your Memphis Depay, who's absolutely killing it right now.
Pedri.
Like the list goes on. So Obviously Bayern, Barcelona.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd love to sneak in Benfica there, but I can't justify it to myself. I think the only reason I'm really hanging on to Barcelona being any form of good, and I've really not seen them play all that often recently, James. Memphis Depay, there's something about athletes with his kind of mindset, that kind of winner's mindset and winner's mentality. I think that he's going to kind of, it's a huge drop off from Messi. No one's even going to try and make that comparison. But I think if you could pick a mentality of any athlete to try and take over the reins and be the spearhead of a future of attack, I think you'd want that Memphis Depay type of guy there doing it. And in the Champions League, I think we know that he's ready now as a pro to step up. But yeah, Bayern cut above the rest. And I just think that Barcelona, there's too much quality from even just individuals to take over there. Group F, kind of a fascinating group, and I've jokingly said that I think this group was part of the reason why Ronaldo wanted to make the transfer, because he could see more Champions League goals on the horizon moving to Man United in this group. But Group F, James, Atalanta, Manchester United, Villarreal, and young boys from Switzerland. Who are the two you have going through?
Interestingly enough, I love where you mentioned the Ronaldo thing. They have Man United play young boys first, and young boys to me are going to be the whipping boys of this Champions League season. Ronaldo hasn't his recent Champions League record, especially for Juventus, hasn't been outstanding. So he probably wants to bump it up because he probably sees Messi's catching up with him. But again, when I look at this, there's two outstanding teams in there, and I look at a team that won the Europa League last year, who probably are better off being in the Europa League, in like Villarreal, who they got there off merit for winning the Champions League, but do they really belong in the Champions League like with the squad that they have? No, not really. It's Man United, it's Atlanta. That's really it.
Yeah, no, look, and I don't disagree with you. I think Man United and Atalanta are the two superior teams at this point in time, but Atalanta in the Champions League, I don't know if they've quite done it yet for me. And I do look at a team, again, with very, very good history, having beaten our both favourites to get through in this group in the final of a major European competition last year, are still in this group. They've only gotten better, the same coach, same mentality, same principles, fans back as well. I think Villarreal are going to sneak this in second. I think it will probably go to, game week 5,
Really?
game week 6. Yeah, I do. I think that we'll have Man United, Villarreal going through here. Villarreal and Atalanta will obviously be the close games to look out for there. I'll be keeping an eye on those ones. But yeah, it's hard to see Man United, getting even beaten. I think they'll probably go undefeated in the group stages here. Maybe a couple of draws to the two bigger teams there, but on the most part, especially at Old Trafford, you can see them getting wins, especially with Ronaldo trying to pad those stats a little bit. The way he operates. Moving on to, in my opinion, this is the most open group across the board. Now, that's not to disrespect Group B with Milan, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, and Porto, but this is quietly, I think, the best group in the whole thing, because I think the levels of the teams involved are so similar that it's impossible really to pick who's going to win. But in Group G, we have Lille, obviously the French champions from last year, RB Salzburg from Austria, Sevilla, and Wolfsburg from the Bundesliga. James, who are the two teams you've got coming through here? I'm fascinated by your answers here, by the way.
It looks on paper, it looks like you can clearly see like this is going to be a tough group, but I think it's more straightforward than you think.
Okay.
Like Lille have been decimated and have been battered to the point of view after you know what it's like when like a team wins the French league. Teams are going to snoop it around. They're going to take all their best players.
Right.
You look at their record in like Ligue 1 this year, hasn't been great, and it probably will pick up, but I don't think they're nowhere near the team that they were last year, and especially in the Champions League with the demands that the Champions League has. I look at Sevilla being the team to probably topple the group or be ahead of the group, and followed by Wolfsburg, who played 4 games in the Bundesliga this year and won all 4. And probably, like, when you look at it, if you look at the matchup between Lille and Wolfsburg there, I think Wolfsburg beat them easily at this moment of time. So I got Wolfsburg finishing second.
Wow, strong. So I'm going to agree with you. I do think that Sevilla do go through top, but second, I'm going to go for RB Salzburg, James. I'm going to kind of stick my neck out a little bit. This is far and away the best team in Austria. Yes, it's Austria. Like, let's not try and pretend that this is the Premier League or Spain or Italy or Germany or whatever, but this is still a reasonably strong league. And I did just flash the stats up there quickly because I wanted to make sure, played 7 matches so far this year, won 7 matches, 21 points, max points taken, goals for 19, goals against 4. So over 7 games, that's an incredibly impressive haul. For those guys. And I think that you bring that winning mentality and you bring that confidence with you from week to week, and you're not really across the board with any of these teams playing a team that's similar in that respect. Wolfsburg are not the kings of the Bundesliga. Sevilla are not the kings of Spain. Lille are not the kings of France in terms of just being so dominant. And I just think that Salzburg are kind of edging their way up more and more, less of as a feeder team for Leipzig, but more just going out there on their own. And I think that the Austrian league and the Belgian league, I think, are joining forces, or maybe that's the Dutch league. I've forgotten, but
I don't know. It's a Belgium and Dutch league, I think.
Belgian and Dutch league, but still, I just think that there's enough there for that Salzburg team in terms of positive momentum going forward. You mentioned the drop off with Lille; that's very, very real. I'm not going to mess around with that, but very close one. I don't feel super confident about what I've said. I don't feel super confident about what you've said. I think that if Lille do go through with somebody else, then I just think, oh yeah, I'm not going to be too surprised. French champions from last year. Ending on potentially a little bit of a downer, because there are two clearly strong teams here and then like a couple weaker ones, but I wonder if there are going to be any surprises left here for me or James. Group H, you have the Champions League reigning champs in Chelsea Football Club, Juventus, who are currently sitting in 16th position in Serie A right now, having a torrid time in Italy, also joined by Malmo and Zenit St. Petersburg from Russia. James, who are the two you have going through, and why are they Chelsea and Juventus?
I want to put Leipzig. I want to put Zenit in there so much.
Me too.
I like it, and it makes sense. But Chelsea are the outstanding team in there. They're going to go through. We don't doubt that. Juventus technically are the other outstanding team in here. Yes, the league doesn't tell them that they're doing great at this moment of time. Yes, it might not be the Juventus of 4 or 5 years ago with Pirlo and Adel, not Thuram, Vidal and Tevez and all them guys there, but still a very good side. And I look at Zenit, I look at Molde. Could they spring a surprise against them? Maybe, but do I back Juventus more? Yes. So again, and even then, I actually see Juventus maybe beating Chelsea at home. So again, I'm gonna go for Chelsea. Juve. It's an easy one right there. It's kind of say, who do you pick to go ahead?
Yeah, I agree with you, James. And I think I do honestly believe that Juventus will get better and better as the season goes on. I think Ronaldo leads any football team, and there's always going to be an adjustment period, purely from the dressing room vibe, on the pitch, the vibe as well. I do think that this will be the rebirth of Paulo Dybala that we've all been hoping for and waiting for now that Ronaldo is out of the picture. And I just think that something that allows him to kind of do what he wants in that number 10 role behind Morata or even somebody else coming through, like a Moise Kean coming through as well. I think that would be terrific, having Dybala and Moise Kean playing. Fede Chiesa maybe on one side, maybe stick Kulusevski or a Bernardeschi on the other side as well, give them good width, and then just a double pivot in behind. That's all they need. This, obsession with having all these midfielders and trying to fit them all in the team just needs to be dropped from Juve. I do think they will get back there. And yeah, Malmo and Zenit, I'm not going to lie to you, James, if the 3 and 4 spot was Sevilla, Wolfsburg, I'd be tempted to pick Sevilla or Wolfsburg ahead of Juventus at this point. Villarreal, Shakhtar, Dortmund, Sporting. Juventus got kind of lucky here with the pot number 3. The third seeded teams. The fact they got Malmo and Zenit, Juventus got kind of lucky here. But yeah, Chelsea. It's going to be difficult for me seeing Chelsea lose a single game here. Anything from you? I know we're getting on to the big question in about 15, 20 seconds here, but anything else from you?
I kind of just wait, because I said it, like, on matchup wise, this is one of the best group stages that we've had in a while.
100%. Yeah.
As in every week or every game week for the Champions League, there's Tuesday and Wednesday, there's always a highlight game that, I can't wait to watch, or maybe 2 highlight games that you can't wait to watch. So I'm really, really looking forward to it.
So 2 big questions then. We'll start with the easier question. Who's going to be your team who does above and beyond their expectations? Who's the team in the competition this year that you look at and go, you know what, I think they could go, above and beyond what's being expected of them this year?
What do you mean? The team to win it? Because above and beyond is like, okay, the team that...
So Ajax from a couple of years back, we were like, nobody was expecting that, and then they overachieved. Who are going to be your overachievers this year?
When you technically look at the paper in what they've done in the past 5 years, or even I could say nearly 10 years, It's Manchester United.
Wow.
You know, they have they have underachieved in like the Champions League. Haven't been there in a number of years. Haven't made a semi-final in God knows how long. Hasn't played in a final in God knows how long. Got knocked out in the group stages last year. Year after that wasn't like they weren't in it. So yeah, I have Man United in this situation. I have them making the final.
Whoa, dude, that's bold.
Okay.
Hold on that. Hold on that, though.
Okay.
Because
I have them making the later rounds of the knockout stage.
Okay. For me, I'm kind of torn here between Villarreal and Besiktas, because both of whom I think will get through to the next round, which I do think is an overachievement from either team. But I'm also not ruling either of those guys out for the knockout team the next time as well. We've got to remember the Villarreal team you're playing. You've got to remember the manager you're playing. The guy's a cup knockout expert type guy here. And then with Turkey, yeah, they've got a few little bits of quality across the team. Obviously, they like to pick up players kind of in the winter of their career who still have a little bit of quality. You know, that's like charisma central, right? But, you know, and then again, the away form, especially if you can get out of the group stages into knockout rounds. Good luck going to Turkey, especially if you're a really big team coming into town. The fans are going to be gassed for that. So those are my two. I'm going to go with Villarreal just because I trust the manager and I trust the history of what they have been able to achieve. It's much the same team and they were able to keep hold of the likes of Pau Lopez as well. So I'll stick with Villarreal as my potential overachievers. But James,
I'm just going to say Unai Emery is not a Champions League specialist. It's a Europa League specialist.
Europa League specialist, right.
Two different contests. They're not getting out of the group stages. That's just my thing, right?
Okay. But now the big one. We already know who's potentially going to be in your final, but are they going to win it? Who have you got winning the Champions League right now? We won't hold it to you like crazy just yet. We'll keep it updated.
I technically want to hold it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Before the competition starts, we do need to put
okay, cool. In. This is my team to win the whole thing, and I think it kind of ruins it, but things could change. Things could change. Man United, maybe not. Okay, later rounds in the finals, you know what I want there.
Right.
But PSG. And do I really do? Do you want me to say why?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can. I think we all know why, but you can do it if you want.
It's this small Argentinian player, you know, Di Maria, you know, makes a big difference.
He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Yeah, no, hey James, look, I buy it. I'm not doubting that man's capability. I've still said this, and this isn't me trying to be a hater. We've seen this a number of times with quote unquote super teams, Galacticos, things where, all these great guys have been brought in and we didn't see the peak of what we wanted to see. So to me, it still remains to be seen. I don't think the PSG team now is that much better than it was, a year ago, a couple of years ago. So to me, I'm still waiting for it. I know Mauricio Pochettino as well. He's got a point to prove too. So I hope the pressure doesn't get too much to him. I'm really tempted to go with Bayern Munich. I'm really, really tempted because I think that Bayern Munich are this businessman-like team that just go about their business quietly in the background, good, smart business deals. You know, James, again, is it going to shock either of us if Erling Haaland goes there next summer, right? Julian Nagelsmann, fresh ideas? Go ahead.
I think Bayern are not the team that everyone makes them out to be anymore. Last season, I get it. This season, I'm not having it. I think that there's a weird drop off with Bayern that you're going to see this season to still win the Bundesliga,
right?
Champions League, be a bit too far from.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I look at, positions across the pit field. Robert Lewandowski is such a fantastic X factor as well. Midfield is strong. Joshua Kimmich's still in there. Manuel Neuer, a lot of that squad has still been there and done that. So I'm going to quietly pick Bayern Munich. But I also, again, can you really rule out the English teams or PSG? Probably not. So, but I'll stick my neck out and say Bayern Munich.
Again, the Champions League predictions, especially knockout stages, will happen, guys.
Yes.
Let us know who you think is going to win. Let us know who you think is going to go through in all of the leagues, and also who is going to be your so and so dark horse and who's going to win. Please, guys, comment down below.
Also, like, I think just to kind of defend the fact we're not picking every game, guys, do you really want to see me and James pick the winner of Malmo versus Zenit St. Petersburg? Is that the kind of content you're wanting? Come on, no. Let's wait till the knockouts. Let's get to the real football, and we'll go from there.
Be patient, but guys, thanks for watching. This is Box to Box Football. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.